Welcome to Morgan County. Morgan County encompasses 610 square miles, or 390,408 acres, and is the smallest county in the state. The highest peak is Thurston Peak at 9,706 feet, located on the western boundary of Morgan County between Morgan and Davis counties. The lowest point is on the valley floor at Mountain Green and is approximately 5,000 feet above sea level. Morgan County's location in the center of the Rocky Mountain region, along with its abundance of natural resources, have benefited residents and visitors. At 93%, or 568 square miles, Morgan County has the highest percent of private land in the state. In 2012, Morgan County had 1,900 homes and 1,100 homes in Morgan City, for a total of 3,000. The 1870 Morgan County population was 1,972. The 2012 estimated census population was 9,821. Thomas J. Thurston, Charles S. Peterson, and two of Peterson's sons and a son-in-law are all credited with being among the first settlers to locate in Morgan Valley. These men, with the help of others, carved a crude road through the treacherous Devil's Gate in Weber Canyon. It was during the year 1855, or 8 years after the pioneers arrived in the Salt Lake Valley, that the first settlers entered Weber Valley to settle. Other pioneers eager to reside in such a promising place followed soon after. Settlements were soon established throughout the area. Their locations depended on the richness of the soil and access to water, which was essential for their existence. Two streams, the Weber River and East Canyon Creek, that flow through the valley, were difficult to cross and had an important bearing as to where the settlements were located. The names given to the settlements were usually identified with a person or some geographical site or place. The strong Mormon religious environment that prevailed soon accounted for colonies being organized into branches or wards of the church, which took care of the temporal as well as the spiritual needs of the people until the civil government was established in 1862, when the county was officially established. As near as can be determined from available historical data, 15 settlements were established in the valley during the 9-year period from 1855 to 1864. Most of them have maintained their identification until the present date. The date or order as to when there were enough families located in a particular area to be identified as a colony or settlement is not known. Precedent had been established that a settlement was officially recognized when its first public building was erected. The earliest settlements were located in the northern part of the valley at Peterson, Milton, Mountain Green, and Littleton. Settlements were soon located further south at Enterprise, Stoddards, South and North Morgan, Richville, East and West Porterville, North and South Round Valley, and Croydon. In 1907, the Union Portland Cement Company established their company-owned town of Devil's Slide. By 1987, the last resident moved from Devil's Slide, and the remaining home was demolished, creating a ghost town. The Native American tribes who occupied northern Utah when the Mormons arrived were the Shoshone, Ute, Paiute, and Goshute Indians. Those individuals known to frequent Morgan County included Chief Juan Ship, a Utah Valley Ute, Chief Washakie of the Shoshone, and Little Soldier, a leader of the Weber Utes, and various other members of their tribes. Few incidents were recorded between the early settlers and Native Americans. From the first schools in Weber City now known as Peterson, followed 33 other schools in the settlements until 1936, when students from the schools in the settlements were all consolidated to one campus in Morgan City. The first high school was established in 1915, and the building was used until 1966, when the new high school was constructed. It has since been renovated several times and increased in size to accommodate the increase in students. Currently, there are 2 elementary schools, one located in Morgan City and the other in Mountain Green, built in 2008 to accommodate population growth in the county. As of 2013, there are 719 elementary students in Morgan and 542 enrolled at Mountain Green Elementary School. Middle school enrollment is 589. The high school has 800 enrolled. Currently, 2013, there are 131 certified teachers in the district. Illness and death continued to plague the pioneers after they settled in the valley. Diphtheria, smallpox, and chickenpox were the common epidemics of the day. These were accompanied by ague and accidents associated with the difficult pioneer life. Many early settlers could help their neighbors with common illness by using herbs and remedies they had learned prior to coming west. Midwives were in constant demand, especially for childbirth. Quarantines were often enforced to help stop the spread of contagious diseases. Morgan's first certified medical physician, Dr. Kohler, came to Morgan in 1879. In 1880, he established the first Utah Medical College. It was located in Morgan City, but due to negative public opinion from newspapers in Salt Lake City, the college was discontinued after a few years. From 1879 until the present date, there were only a couple of years in the late 1880s when Morgan did not have a trained, certified medical doctor located within the county boundaries. In 1862, an act of the Utah Territorial Legislature created Morgan County and its boundaries. A county seat was established at Weber City, or Peterson. The first governing officials were probate judge Charles S. Peterson and 3 selectmen, Ira N. Spalding, Philemon C. Merrill, and Joseph Brad. The probate judge system governed the affairs of the county until statehood in 1896. At this time, the county went to a 3-member county commissioner system. This local form of government handled the affairs of the county until May 1999, when a public election implemented a 7-member council to govern Morgan County, which remains the form of government today. Morgan City is the only incorporated city in the county. An act incorporating the city was approved in 1868. The land within the city contains 1,366 acres. It is governed by a mayor and 5-member council and is categorized as a 3rd-class city. According to the 2010 census, there were 3,687 residents. In 2012, there were 1,100 homes listed in the assessor's office. Morgan City is still governed by the system adopted in 1868 and currently owns its own power, water, and sewer systems. The history of the Transcontinental Railroad through Morgan County began in 1864 when the route was originally surveyed. Construction in Morgan actually began in 1868. LDS Church President Brigham Young signed contracts for approximately $2.25 million. Many Morgan residents were employed under these contracts. Because Morgan had been plagued by an invasion of grasshoppers that devoured the crops, many residents would have had to leave the area, but the railroad provided jobs and the means for local families to survive. Men were employed in constructing the grade and excavating tunnels. This included earthwork, furnishing ties, building bridges, masonry work, and constructing trestles. 3 construction camps were located in Round Valley, and another camp, the John Taylor Camp of 500 to 600 men, was located in Mountain Green. Some women washed and mended clothes for the construction gangs. Families sold milk, butter, and eggs to railroad camp cooks. Railroad officials often gave their cast-off clothing to residents, and women altered the items for their families. Many families took in boarders as another means of income. Weber Canyon was considered the hardest stretch of grading for the Union Pacific from Omaha to Promontory, Utah. Several men were killed at Devil's Gate. It was in the Narrows above Devil's Slide that Union Pacific reached a milestone of 1,000 miles of construction from Omaha, Nebraska. A large conifer tree growing at the site was designated as the 1,000-mile tree. The original tree eventually died, and another tree has been planted at the site. 2 of the 4 tunnels constructed before reaching Promontory Point and the joining of the rails were located in Morgan County. Tunnels 3 and 4 were located 3/4 of a mile apart, 3 miles west of Devil's Slide. Both tunnels were constructed on a curve through solid black limestone and blue quartzite. Mormon workers, considered experts with nitroglycerin and other explosives necessary to blast and tunnel through the rocky formations of the hillsides, excavated the tunnels. Several bridges were constructed over the Weber River. A 60 to 75-foot cut named Carlisle Cut near Devil's Slide also presented challenges. The only major change to the tracks through Morgan took place in 1926 when the double track was laid, providing both an east and westbound track. Morgan was fortunate to have 3 major passenger stations. These were located at Devil's Slide, originally Croydon Station, Morgan City, or Weber Station, and Peterson. There were also water towers for the steam engines at the stations. However, the trains often picked up passengers at other section stations along the tracks, including Gateway and Strawberry. A new brick passenger terminal was built in 1926 in Morgan City. The other 2 stations were eventually phased out. The Morgan City station operated until its closure in 1982. The railroad brought great economic benefits. Tourists came into the area. Farmers shipped produce, agricultural crops, and livestock outside the county for sale. The train also brought necessities and luxuries to residents and business establishments. The most well-known trail used by trappers through Morgan County was Trapper's Loop, which connected Weber River in Mountain Green to Ogden Hole, now known as Huntsville. In 1989, State Road 167, or Trapper's Loop Road, was created to connect the 2 valleys. The original Trapper's Loop Trail Road was approximately 1/2 mile east of this new 2-lane roadway. An historic meeting of fur trappers occurred in Mountain Green at a site known as Deserter Point on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of May, 1825. 3 groups from the 3 centers of the western fur trade, including Taos, New Mexico, Etienne Provost, and 15 trappers. The American Fur Company, Johnson Gardner and his 25 trappers, St. Louis, Missouri, and Hudson's Bay Port of Fort Vancouver on the Columbia River, Peter Skeen Ogden and his 58 trappers had penetrated the present-day boundaries of Utah and met on the Weber River in Mountain Green. Ogden and Gardner argued with each other as to whether Mountain Green was on American or British soil. 23 of Ogden's trappers defected and joined Gardner's group. Gardner offered the trappers more money for their pelts, so they deserted Ogden and took 700 pelts with them. Thus the name Deserters Point was given to the site. The site is located at the I-84 westbound rest stop in Mountain Green. At that time, the area was actually in Mexico's territory. Documented history of floods in Morgan County date back to 1861 and 62, when the few residents located on the island road that is now part of Morgan City were forced to move their dwellings to Monday Town Hollow, the hollow leading to Clark's Dry Farm, to escape the raging waters of East Canyon Creek. The first bridge spanning the Weber River in Morgan Valley was at Weber City, or Peterson. The high spring runoff waters were always threatening the bridge, at times making it unsafe to use. Morgan has 15 major streams that flow into the Weber River. This creates a potential for flooding in many areas of the county, including along the Weber River. The highest flows of water in the Weber River since records have been kept include 1890, 1896, 1907, 1917, 1922, 1952, 1962, 1982 and 83, and 2011. In 1917, water covered much of the valley floor. The most remembered floodwaters were in 1952 and 1983. In 1952, around-the-clock vigils were kept at all the bridges in the county. Debris had to be kept cleared when it accumulated at the bridges. Auto bridges in East Canyon were washed out, along with the Stoddard-Milton Weber River Bridge. Water flowed over the bridges between North and South Morgan, and fortunately, the bridges held. U.S. Highway 30, or the Lincoln Highway, was closed as the floodwaters washed the road out at Devil's Gate. Schools were closed to have students help with sandbags. Road dikes and increased riprap had to be placed to secure the Union Pacific Railroad tracks. Floodwaters from the Weber River covered most of the highway west of Gateway, or where the present-day Mountain Green Interstate exit and on-ramp exists, through the lower Weber Canyon. In 1983, high floodwaters again plagued the valley as temperatures rose. In June, newspaper headlines read, "Flooding strikes Morgan area." Volunteers worked around the clock battling the elements, and the Utah National Guard supplied men and equipment. Nearly 50 homes and 4,000 acres of cropland were damaged. City crews also worked around the clock to secure the sewage lagoon system. To make matters worse, small tornado-type winds occurred in 1952 following the floods. Wind damage in Peterson alone was estimated at $50,000. Winds estimated at 90 miles per hour struck at several points in the county. The snow formed a white bird on the hillside in East Porterville. It's created by the melting snowpack. Indians coming to the valley for their summer campground relied on the snow formation as an indicator that formed once the danger of high water had passed. After the settlers came to Morgan, they also relied on the legend of the snow pigeon. A well-formed snowbird in late April or early May indicated there would be sufficient runoff into the summer for irrigation of crops. If the bird was melted by early spring, a possibility of a drought was imminent. From pioneer days onward, Morgan was primarily known as an agricultural community. Due to changes over time, few residents currently farm for their primary source of income. Morgan has become known as a bedroom community, with most residents working outside of the county. Morgan is a picturesque valley. During the 4 seasons, the county takes on different color schemes. Scenic vehicle or motorcycle rides, also bicycling, have become very popular. Morgan has 4 buildings on the National Register of Historic Buildings. They include the Daniel Heiner Home, the Union Pacific Railroad Morgan Station, the 1936 Mechanical Arts School Building, and the Round Valley School. There are several historic sites to see in the county as well. Contact the Historical Society for more information, including information on Devil's Slide, the Devil's Looking Glass, and Thousand Mile Tree. The landmark M that adorns the mountain above Morgan City was created in 1916. High school graduating students created the M by digging a trench and filling it with rocks. It was then whitewashed. According to H.B. Fry, who was instrumental in creating the M, quote, "Let us build a block M on the hillside for future generations to gaze upon, and let it be a visible symbol of the integrity, learning, and accomplishments of this Morgan High School," end of quote. It has since been cemented and receives a new coat of paint each year. The steep trail to the M is open to the public. The county environment and atmosphere are perfect for the enjoyment of many outdoor activities. These include bird watching, bowling, and golf, which are great activities for families. County and city parks. There are several parks in the area for family picnics and activities, and the one in Morgan City also includes a splash pad during the summer season for the kids. The Daughters of Utah Pioneers Museum. East Canyon State Park offers camping, boating, fishing, jet skis, and yurts. The historic Donner Reed, Mormon, and Pony Express trails traverse the south portion of the county. A self-guided auto tour is available at the Morgan County Historical Society office for those wanting to follow the trail route from Hennifer to Mormon Flat. In the Mormon Flat area, there are 2 pristine sections of the trail that can be hiked. Lost Creek Reservoir offers fishing and boating. Snow Basins, a world-class ski resort, offers beautiful scenic rides for your auto or by motorcycle, along with hiking and biking trails. The Weber River that flows through the county, in addition to providing some excellent wildlife viewing, is a well-known fishing destination. It's also a very popular tubing and rafting recreational site above Taggart Exit. Weber River eventually flows into the Great Salt Lake and was named in honor of Captain John Weber, an adventurer and fur trader. Each year, the Morgan County Fair provides opportunities to view rodeos, demolition derbies, truck pulls, and other activities for the entire family.